Hey guys, welcome to lesson 4.3. Okay, in consumer math, we're talking about household budget. Make sure that you have your book with you because we're gonna read through the information before we go into the examples. And actually, this isn't a hard lesson. Basically the most complicated thing is that understanding like what they're asking for when they ask you to break it down into like weeks or into the year or into the day or et cetera, okay? But first let's go over the general information. So a household budget is the presupuesto that you use for your house. Obviously you don't have a house right now, but really this budget is for any part of your life. So it doesn't matter whether or not you have like a ton of money or you have a little bit of money. It's good to know like where your money is going to go or what you're going to be using your money on and how much money you have left. Because if you just say, okay, I have this much money in the bank, and then you just keep spending and spending and spending, eventually you're gonna look at it and realize that you spent a lot more than you think you spent. And so it's always good to have a budget. I promise it always happens like that. If you don't keep track of what you're spending, then at the time that you go to look at how much you're spending because you need more money or because you're about to have a bigger expense, then you're gonna be surprised about how much money you spent when you weren't even really paying attention. Okay, so let's read it like we always used to do in class. We're just gonna read through the information so you can get all of it and we can talk about the main concepts and then go into the examples. It says a plan in dollars for the wise use of money is called a budget. A household or family budget is important not just to those with low incomes, but to all consumers, since in these days of easy credit and proliferation of credit cards, people often spend more than they have earned. Remember, if you do not control your money, it will control you. And guys, that's a huge thing, first of all, that you need to pay attention to. Be careful of credit cards. A lot of times people buy credit card, or people sign up for credit cards because there's like good descuentos or there's good promotions that you get money back if you use them. And it's true, but here's the key to credit cards. If you're gonna have a credit card, you need to make sure that the money that you're spending is money that you have, okay? Because this is how a credit card works. You get a certain amount of credit, right? So let's say that they say you can have 50,000 lempiras of credit. So you can keep spending on that card, spending on that card, and spending on that card. But at the end of the month, you need to pay your credit card bill. The money that you don't, let's say that you spend 25,000 lempiras on your credit card, right? Well, the credit card company isn't gonna make you give them 25,000 lempiras at the end of the month. You're gonna keep paying on that 25,000 lempiras that you spent. But you're gonna pay it with interest, and a lot of interest, okay? So you're paying more than the 25,000, and the longer you don't pay it, the longer you're paying more and more and more interest. So like a good rule for using a credit card is that you are able to pay it off at the end of the month. Don't keep racking up deudas and deudas and deudas and deudas. So if you are gonna spend something for 25,000 lempiras, have a plan to pay that 25,000 lempiras very, very quickly, okay? Because really guys, why should you go into debt? Honestly, I wouldn't even suggest that you have a credit card unless you really, really need it, which there's like no reason why you really, really need a credit card because all you're doing is spending money that you don't have yet. Well, you should wait until you have it. That's the thing, okay? Because you should only go into debt for a couple of things. Your education, like going to the university, a house, and sometimes a car, because sometimes it's hard to get a car full cash by having all the money saved up, because sometimes you need a car before you can save up all that money. Other than that, you shouldn't go into debt for things, because you should just save up and wait until you're able to buy it without going into debt, because debt always brings interest, which means you're always paying a lot more than you should have paid for that thing. Also, be careful when you start working, because I was listening to people talk about like certain businesses that they work for around here, and what they do is they can borrow money from the company and then you pay it back with your paycheck, right? But guys, sometimes when the companies do that, they give you préstamos that have interest more than you'll ever realize that they have interest. Like that's like doubling the préstamo. I was talking to somebody who said that at their company, they can borrow you know, like let's say they can borrow like 20,000 lempiras, but at the end they're paying like 35,000 lempiras back or something like that. I was like, that's basically doubling your prestamo. It's better either if you need a prestamo like that you go to a bank where the interest is going to be a little bit lower, or you don't take the prestamo, because sometimes we think the prestamo is just there for easy money or convenient money, and it's not supposed to be that way. Stick to the rule. Get into debt for your house, your education, and a car. Other than that, use the money that you have so that you don't get yourself into a lot of deudas, because like it says right here, if you do not control your money, it will control you. And that's for real. You'll be worried about it. That's all you'll think about. You'll need to find ways to get more of it. You'll be too stressed, and it's not good. And it's not biblical either, because God says that we need to control our money well. So look what it says in the second paragraph. The first step in preparing a budget is to estimate one's income. Okay, so how do you make a budget? First, you're going to estimate the income. That means like how much you're making at your work, if you have any other income coming in. It says right here, income includes not just wages that you're ganancia at work, but all money received, such as interest, rental income, bonuses, and pay for part-time and occasional work. So if you have an extra job or you get a bonus at work, that's all income. And interest. Sometimes you're going to get interest back if you have a savings account. It's not a lot of interest, but it is income. The second, look at the next paragraph, the second and more difficult step is to estimate expenses. Expenses must be categorized under descriptive headings, such as necessities, personal, tithes, and offerings, that's your diezmo, savings, and miscellaneous. So here's your estimate expenses. That one's the hardest one because there's always more expenses. Items of expenses than there is income. Okay, so you have to get a little bit more specific with that one. The categories can be broken down into subcategories according to the complexity of the budget. Necessities could include rent, clothes, food, childcare, and other needs. To actually determine the amount of money to allocate for each category, subheadings such as clothes could be further broken down into the cost of new clothes or the cost of mending or altering old clothes, and cleaning costs. Personal could be broken down into specific expenses, particularly regular ones such as a weekly league bowling fee or monthly book club charges. To keep God's command in Proverbs 3:9, the tithe should be budgeted first. So if you are one that's going to be offering money to the church, like a diezmo or a certain amount of money each month, you need to put that into your budget first, because guys, if you wait, it won't be there. Okay, you'll spend it. So you got to put it in there purposefully. Also, it is important to include savings. If a person wants to save what is left over at the end of the month, nothing may be left to save. So same thing with savings. You have to put money into a specific account, and that has to be one of the first things you do when you get your paycheck. Because if you're going to say like, well, whatever I have left, that's what I'll put into my savings account. Nothing's going to be left. I promise you, nothing's going to be left. Okay, so here we go. Look at example 1. I'm not going to do this one on the board. It's too easy. Dan Morgan estimates his expenses and savings each month to be as shown. What was the total amount of money he allocated for expenses and savings? Okay, so there you go. Tithe, necessities, personal, savings, miscellaneous. Just add them together. That's all you do, okay? So look at number 2. Find the total for the estimated item by item expenses on a yearly and monthly basis. This one we're going to do on the board. I'm going to do this example, and then I'm also going to do number 1, because then number 1 gets a little bit, it's like the same concept, but they kind of throw a little bit more complication into it, so I want to make sure you understand. Look what it says in number 2. Find the total for the estimated item by item expenses on a yearly and monthly basis. So look, he has his budget for the week. He tithes $5 a week. Personal is $7.50. Personal means like your own personal expenses, maybe clothes or food outside the house or stuff like that, or food inside the house. But look, he's not budgeting anything else. It's a simple budget. Savings is $30 a week, and miscellaneous is $5.50 a week. So it says, put these items on a yearly and monthly basis. So what are you going to do? Well, you're going to multiply 5 times what? This is 5 per week. Well, how many weeks are in a year? 52. Okay, so you're going to multiply all this stuff by 52 to get what your estimated yearly expenses are going to be. Okay, so you go 5 times 52, 260. 750 times 52, 390. 30 times 52, $1,560. And $5.50 times 52, 286. Okay, so then you can add all those up. So your total yearly expenses are going to be $2,496. That's not a lot. I don't know what this guy's living on, but anyway. Okay, now it says monthly. Okay, how much is all this going to be monthly? Well, you really can't go, and this is the important part that you guys need to understand. You really can't go from weeks to months directly because we don't really know how many weeks are in a month. Sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 5. It varies way too much, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to go from the yearly and divide by how many? 12. You're going to divide. Now that the year is already here, and we know that there's 12 months in a year, the year is going to be the bigger number, so you have to divide to get the smaller number, okay? Sorry about the noise. Okay, so here we go. 260 divided by 12. $21.67 per month. 390 divided by 12. $32.50. 1,560 divided by 12. 130. 286 divided by 12. 23.83. Okay, and then you add all of those together, and your answer is going to be $208 per month. Okay, so let me get it set up for number 1. Okay, on this one, guys, look what it says on number 1. Find the total for the estimated item by item expenses for the following exercise on A, yearly, B, monthly, C, weekly, okay? The cute thing about this one is that they give you like 3 weeks and 1 month, but that's okay because we're just gonna put the information over here and then put them into the table according to how we know how to do that. So let's look at the first one. It says, tithe $40 a month. Okay, well that's easy then, first of all, to go over here and put $40 a month for tithe. For the year, what are you going to do for the year? You're going to multiply this by what? By 12. Okay, so you have 480. Then, to get the week, remember you can't go from month to week directly, so you have to go from year and divide by what? 52. So let's do that. 480 divided by 52. 453.2. What? Oops. 480 divided by 52. $9.23. Okay, so let's do this one then. We have personal would be week is 8. The year is going to be 8 times 52 because you can't go from week to month. 416. 416 divided by 12. 34.67. Okay, then $45 a week again. You're going to put 45 right here. That means 45 times 52 is going to give you 2,340. Divide that by 12, and that will give you 195. And then the last one is $5 a week, so put 5 here. 5 times 52. 260 divided by 12. 21.67. And then you add them all together. Okay? I'm not going to add them all together, not because I don't want to finish the problem with you, but you guys know how to add. And so to save you some time and to get into your work, there you go. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. Bye guys, have a great day, and enjoy your Fair Day Out tomorrow.